In this video, I am going to introduce some accents from Scotland and Ireland, so watch and listen. As somebody from Scotland, I often find it very funny when people come here for the first time. They often expect people to sound like they do in the television programme Outlander, which sounds like this.
I'm sorry, lass. I'm a married man.
But in reality, people in Scotland sound more like this builder who got stuck on a roof.
I probably need to go. I'm not meant to go. I mean, I can't just move it.
Moving on from that, I'm going to talk about some more concrete accents. The first of these is the Glaswegian accent from the city of Glasgow. Here is a clip from perhaps the most popular Glaswegian television programme, Still Game, in which the main characters get stuck in a lift in an elevator.
There you are. On.
Feetsies.
Sorry?
Feetsies.
Yes, features to you too. Have you helped us a bit?
No, a tenner feetsies.
Glaswegian is often renowned as being one of the most difficult accents to understand. But just remember that not everyone sounds like they do in that video, although lots do. This is probably the closest to my accent. My accent is a bit of a mix because my parents are not from the city. My dad is from the centre of Scotland, but my mum is from Ireland. And we lived in a place known as a commuter town. And in commuter towns, you have lots of people that come from different places, which means the accents get neutralised. Moving east, you find the city of Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland. Although Edinburgh has a reputation of having an easier accent to understand than Glasgow, this is not always the case. A great example of this is in the movie Trainspotting.
I just put down to Royal Edinburgh College to help get the job. There's too much discrimination in this town, man. Because they're both schools, right? And we're all in this together.
I think anyone that is not from Scotland would have a very difficult time picking out almost anything that he said in that. Interestingly enough though, in the Scottish cities in both Glasgow and Edinburgh, there are quite often two accents. You have the very strong ones, like the ones that I have shown in the examples, and you also have more neutral ones. These are a result of predominantly people from England moving up and mixing with the local people, which results in a mix of the native accent and an English one, which is much more neutral. In the north of Scotland, perhaps the most distinctive accent is along the east coast. Dundee has its own accent, which sounds like this.
Captain!
What now?
There's a wreck big a spaceship coming towards us. You want to see the size of the thing? It's like a unit twice sizes bigger than your skin.
There's a common phrase that's known across Scotland, and this is 2 steak pies and no. If you know what this means, write below. But the one that I want to talk about in a little bit more detail is found in the very northeast of the country, around the city of Aberdeen. This dialect of English is heavily influenced by Scandinavia, and for this reason can sound very different to standard English. Here is an example of a person speaking Doric.
I thought, oh, well, they'll best be working, and they need the money, and I can't nothing.
My dad has a funny story about the first time that he went to the town of Fraserburgh. Fraserburgh is a big fishing town north of Aberdeen, and when he went there for the first time, he was completely shocked because he just could not understand what they were saying. He went into the hotel and asked for a room, and on hearing that he was not from the area, the person behind the counter replied, "Furtherabouts you fae." Furtherabouts you fae is whereabouts are you from, but where becomes further for some reason, and from becomes fae. The first bit of that phrase is only found in that specific area, but fae is from Scots, from the dialect spoken in parts of Scotland, so it can be found anywhere. Moving across the Irish Sea to the north of Ireland, you find another different sounding accent. This is interesting because in the north of the country, the accent sounds almost American, which can be seen here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, I look about 300 yards behind us here and...
But perhaps the most famous person from Northern Ireland is the golfer Rory McIlroy, and he has a pretty neutral Northern Irish accent, which sounds like this.
You know, as you said, the golf course is playing much differently this year than it did in November.
Moving south of the border into the south, perhaps the most famous Irish television programme ever, and one of the most famous from the British Isles, is Father Ted. And this is Mrs. Doyle from Father Ted offering Father Ted, a priest, a cup of tea.
You won't have a cup.
No, thanks, Mrs. Doyle. Honestly, I won't have a cup.
Are you sure now it's hot?
No, I'm not in the mood, thanks.
All right, so. Like, why would you not have a drop?
This hits home for me because my mum is from Ireland, so as a young boy I spent a long time in the country. And if you ever get the chance of going, the Irish humour is absolutely brilliant. Another suggestion, if you want to discover a little bit more about the real Ireland, is the movie The Guard, starring Brendan Gleeson. Another classic. And I can't leave this video without introducing just one rural accent from Ireland. This is a clip that went viral of an Irish farmer doing an interview for a news station from Dublin.
Well, there was 45 sheep missing, Mike, and the lambs and everything. The sheep just count out a nice bit of money, Mike.
This doesn't even sound like English. This sounds more like Irish Gaelic to me than English. Anyway, I think this covers Ireland and Scotland pretty well. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it interesting. And please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I can make more of these in the future. With nothing else to say, see you in the next video and take care. Bye.